Alright, am I in focus? I think I'm in focus. Hello. Alright, so recently I've been reading Twyla Tharp's book, The Creative Habit, and it's bloody fantastic, to be honest with you. I usually despise self-help books, and I think that they're all a bit arbitrary and a bit trivial, and basically just repetition. But this is told from the perspective of Twyla Tharp, who I'm quite annoyed at myself that I didn't know before I started reading this who she actually is. And she is a dancer and has been leading a dance company for the past 20 years, and she's been in the business for about 40, who is constantly thinking about what to do next. And the amount of effort she has to put in and think about just to create a dance piece or a performance or something like that. Yeah, I don't usually like self-help books, but I'm about a third of the way through, and it's done wonders already. It's really fantastic. But there's a really interesting part where it's called Your Creative Autobiography, which at first I thought was right, okay, because it has little activities in. Some of them I agree with, some of them, you know. At first I was like, right, okay, so it's a basically find yourself kind of questionnaire, and it isn't that at all. As I was going through the questions, I didn't answer them properly because I wanted to save them for this video, but I began to notice key patterns, and I feel like if anyone else is watching this, they could ask themselves this. And then the trick is not to think about your answers as much as just kind of like, don't really think about it, just say it. Just say your answers first thing that comes to your head, and then kind of notice patterns about what you're saying. It's kind of like a free association kind of thing, and it's really quite interesting. So, what is the first creative moment you remember? The first creative moment probably has to be when I was younger and I just got obsessed with Lego, but not actual Lego bricks, the Lego men. And I'd found out that on this phone that my friend gave me, I don't know why at the age of like 6 or 7 she gave me a phone, and it could record for 10 seconds a piece, which was pretty cool, but it could also pause and play, which meant you could do stop motion. So I remember being grounded once and I had to stay in my room, and I spent the entire day painstakingly making this stop motion Lego film with a multitude of characters from like Star Wars, and I think there was some Crazy Bones and Bionicle thrown in there, and I spent all day doing it, to the point that my mum, who had grounded me, was worried about me staying in there all day and coming and seeing what I was doing, and I shown her this film I'd made in 10-second clips, and she was like, wow, that's actually quite cool, and I think she ungrounded me. It was quite nice to me. I took it as, right, if I genuinely put the effort in and get something good, you know, it has rewards sort of thing, which, it's a nice thing to learn at that age, but I can understand how that could be taken completely the opposite way. What is the best idea you've ever had? Of what I've actually done, I'd say Bleak. Like 3 months after Choice, I'd actually made Choice and I'd finished it. 3 months after some of the things I've done on this YouTube channel, I always look back and think, I could have done that so much better. That's quite, especially Choice. But Bleak, I still am very proud of. Like, there was supposed to be like 10 more minutes of footage, but I decided like just what we had, because we couldn't film anymore, just turned into a film, and I'm really proud of what it come out as, and it's like a happy accident in the end. What made it great in my mind? Pretty much, I should probably read these ahead, everything I just spoke about really. What is the dumbest idea? My dumbest idea comes shortly after Bleak. No, actually, my first ever screenplay I ever written. I'd ever written. First screenplay I'd ever written was this really conventional drug ballad of teenage youth, and I remember being so proud, like, and it was like it was so obviously Fight Club kind of thing, where only one of them's real, plot twist and stuff like that, and it's basically like film student 101. And I just wrote these like 11 pages, 11 pages of crap that was all about like these kids acting really hard, and they're actually like, you know, I couldn't write dialogue for teenagers at all. I don't know, I'm just guessing. And I remember giving it to my media teacher at the time in sixth form, first year of sixth form, and him reading it while we were all watching a film, and him circling stuff around, and it's like, yeah, it's going really well, and he just kind of gave it to me back and went, Charlie, you need to go in a different direction, mate, with this script, because it's all been done before. And that crushed me at first, and I was just really upset, and I was like, right, wow, what a dickish thing to do, I believe in it. And then shortly after, I was like, No, okay, I see what he means, and I wrote choice, and at the time I was very happy with choice. So I don't hate choice, but I'm glad I made it. I just look back and go, need to remember to keep my head up. Could you connect the dots that led you to this idea? The idea of wanting to be a filmmaker, the idea that writing and directing was really easy, and the fact that, I'm a teenager, what should I talk about in my film? Drugs and antisocial behaviour. And Fight Club, because Fight Club ruined my life with being my favourite angsty film of my teenage years. What is my creative ambition? To be a filmmaker that challenges audiences while still making it accessible for a general audience. So it's like finding that happy medium. I know I've got to put the work in because it's very unrealistic. But as long as I'm doing something with a camera and it's creative, I think I'd be happy. All the obstacles, lots. Time, money, skill level, the competition, the fact that I go into my course at uni and see so many people better than me, and that really intimidated me once upon a time. And now I just want to learn everything I can, and it's scary. I'm really scared that all this effort is going to be for nothing, and it keeps me up at night that I'm not actually going to contribute anything to the world when I die, which is a stupid thing to worry about, but it really freaks me out. I'm going to move on to the next question now. What are the vital steps to achieving this ambition? Hard work. Lots of hard work. Lots and lots of hard work. I'll sleep when I'm dead. How do you begin your day? This is an ideal day. This is what I try and do more often, but more often than not I'm lazy because I'm an idiot. But I try and wake up at 10 or 11, meditate for an hour, feed the little shit, the cat. Then I spend till lunch trying to work on the film, watching videos, getting inspiration. Then I have a break with my flatmates and stuff like that. Smoke like a chimney, unfortunately. And then I try and maybe work some more in the night. That only happens about 3 out of the 7 days a week, which I should probably fix. Rivals is something that I've grown out of as of the past year. Like this, I'm not acting like, I'm too good for Rivals. No, I was very much on the side that the world hated me and was against me up until a year ago when I first come to uni. So the first 6 months of uni I felt everyone was a rival, and then I finally come to the conclusion that I'm not going to get anywhere without these people, and they've done nothing but be nice, and I need to show that back. I need to share back, otherwise no one's going to want to work with me, and I need to stop being so in my own little space. So in my opinion, a rival is just someone that you haven't had the chance to talk to yet. Which artist do you admire most? David Lynch, because the man is an artist. He's not just a filmmaker. I think he's transcended that into an artist. His paintings are magnificent. He uses meditation to come up with like so many surreal elements in his films. His music, he produces music, fantastic. He doesn't hold up. He doesn't let his vision falter. The last time someone tried to falter his vision, it was Dune, and no one liked Dune. Ever since then, he's just made consistently well-received films. Does anyone in your life regularly inspire you? My other half, Erin, who's been through so much this past year and she's still kicking and still putting up with me. My mum and dad, who together, awful role models, but apart, when you set them apart and you talk to them separately, absolutely fantastic people who both put a completely different perspective on that. Without that, I wouldn't be here. My brothers, my flatmates, my cat, because that cat does not give up. I can't let that cat down. When faced with impending success or threat of failure, how do you respond? With the threat of success, I get really charged and energetic, and I'm probably the best I can be at that point, because I know that even if it's a small step, something's happening, and I get really excited, and I just want to go home and make some more stuff. With failure, it can really debilitize me, and it can really demotivate me, and it's something that only within the past few weeks I've been able to really, especially with this book, I'm not sponsored, I promise, to be able to just try and push back and do something else with it. When you work, do you love the process or the result? Well, with filmmaking, I love writing the screenplay, but I hate redrafting. I love planning and scheduling it, but I hate storyboards. I love filming it so much, but I also really hate the organisation of getting everything set up and the fact that anything could go wrong, we might have to lose a lot of stuff. So it's a mix for the process, but for the result, depending on how well the process went, depends on how much I like the result. Because I know there will always be good and bad in the process, but how hard you work during the process will affect whether or not I'm happy with the result, which is basically a fancy way of saying you get out what you put in. At what moments do you feel your reach exceeds your grasp? Literature and trying to echo the greats. I adore Kerouac, Ginsberg, Camus, all the big names, you know, sort of thing. I really struggle to dive deeper than the big names because I don't know what it is about it, but I'm happy at the top. I don't feel the need to dive any deeper, but I know I really want to, and I know that it can really influence my writing and make things a lot smoother and a lot better, but for some reason I'm quite hesitant, and I need to find out why. What is the idea of mastery? When you don't even have to think and it's just instinct. I think that's supposed to be, so I've heard, like 10,000 hours in. What's your greatest dream? To be a consistently good, challenging filmmaker. So, answering all them, I think this video is mainly for myself more than an audience or anything, because it's going to be interesting to look back on and maybe do again in a few years' time. Hello.
Ah, so you're flying into the bottom of the garden. What are you doing?
I'm answering these questions on video so I can look back in a few years.
Oh, that's lovely.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt it.
No, it's not.
Uh,
I think a bird just shit.
do we leave you to it?
Yeah, okay. I'm wrapping up now anyway.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's alright.
Are you gardening at night or something?
Yeah. No, it's no problem.
Yeah. That's quite nice.
It's strange. It's a strange thing.
Yeah.
It's about halfway through you start to realise that you're just talking to yourself.
Yeah, in the garden.
Yeah, in the garden in the middle of the night, like.
You've partly lit yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Understand what you're doing.
Yeah.
What are you doing? Right, I'll let you finish.
I'm going to leave all this in.
Alright then. Yeah.
So yeah, I think this video was mainly for myself rather than anyone else, but I like the idea of looking back in a few years to see if anything's changed. And I think the constant patterns is that I'm quite worried about what I'm doing, but at the same time I constantly want to grow my confidence in it. Like, I'm not afraid to grow my confidence, I'm just at the very moment afraid, and I'm very much looking forward to developing it. And unlike 2 years ago, I realised that I am not on the high horse that I thought I was, and there's a lot of people that are much better than me, and rather than seeing them as rivals, I'd much rather see them as people that can help and I can learn things from, which is very interesting, which I have to thank my flatmates for that, because they're much smarter than me. Right, okay, that's everything then. Goodbye.